Our next talk is powered by HPE, and it is all about getting back to the future of connected mobility. The way we travel is going to change dramatically. If you were here yesterday and you saw the Hyperloop presentation, you know big things are coming. Startups are already starting to disrupt the field of connected mobility. And here to tell us more about what mobility might look like in the year 2036, I am pleased to welcome from Hewlett-Packard Enterprises, Bernd Gill, the head of service innovation. Welcome.
Thanks a lot for the introduction and giving us the chance to present here. I'm still a little bit nervous because my co-presenter Uli is still not on the stage, but I think I will already start so that we stay within the agenda. Digital disruption has already started, and that's not new. So we have Uber as the world's largest taxi company who owns no more taxi. Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider who has no more real estate. Alibaba, the world's most valuable retailer who has no more inventory. And Facebook, the world's most favorite media company who creates no content. Disruption is happening all over the world. But wouldn't it be cool to look in the future to see what is happening in the future? Uli, great to have you here. Finally.
Bernd.
I was desperately waiting for you.
Jesus. Hey, Bernd, how are you? Hey, folks. You know what? I hardly made it. I ran out of plutonium on the last mile. I had to ask the crew to push me in, so thanks again, folks. Anyway, I traveled quite a lot in time with my wonderful stainless steel time machine. This is very cool, isn't it? Thanks again for the invitation, but let me ask you, where am I?
You have landed here at the new.New festival of Code N in Karlsruhe, in Germany.
Oh, this is good to know. And Germany actually rings a bell. You are the country with no speed limit on your autobahns, right?
Correct. Great fun, as you can imagine.
Okay. For sure, but you know what? The real question is not where am I? The real question is when am I? I was actually expected to be here October 21st, 2015.
Well, you missed that by exactly 1 year. But you know, it's good to have you here anyway, so we can discuss a little bit what you experienced in the future and talk a little bit about how connected mobility is developing.
Okay, be my guest. But let me tell you that I have seen a number of strange things in your current time continuum already.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I came across a number of situations that I couldn't really make sense of.
What exactly?
Well, it's hard to explain, Bernd. I took some pictures, so let me show you. Does that work? Oh, wrong one. Is 6 still around? sorry.
Yeah.
Next one.
Already around.
Already around. This is what I'm looking for. Bernd, what is this?
Oh, I just see a normal bus stop.
A bus stop?
Yeah, a bus stop is a dedicated place where the buses stop to take up people to commute.
Interesting. I see. This is very funny. You know what? In the future, we don't have such a thing anymore. The public transportation network works differently because it knows the calendars, plans, and daily routines of all of the travelers as they share it with the transportation network. It takes all of this data and it actually generates one single schedule for all of the buses, trains, and autonomous cars. This schedule adjusts permanently and ensures the best ride for each single traveler. That means if I don't want to use my DeLorean, I just step out of my place and wait to be picked up. Very easy.
That sounds very interesting. Sounds very convenient. They must collect a lot of data. Do they do something else with that data?
Well, of course, yes, they do. The transportation system also creates my very personal journey with optimized waiting times and the best possible transfers. Clever as they are, they offer some shopping recommendations along the way for me buying a hoverboard or simply plan for a break at a nice coffee bar.
Wow, that sounds like something I would like. But you know, actually, I think there are a few great startups which are already working on that future you're showing us. So for example, there is Bestmile. They are working on a cloud intelligence for driverless transportation, planning and simulating real-time operations of mobility services for public transportation.
Sounds good.
And then there is Alligator Shuttle in Berlin, which is basically an even more shared version of Uber Share. They are taking passengers from wherever they are and bring them wherever they want to go at a minimal cost. They simply connect those who are on the road anyway with those who are traveling in the same direction.
And you know what? I remember Uber. They have disrupted the taxi industry in the 21st century?
Yes, this is where we are right now, and this is the time when Faraday Future started its business. Their concept is very close to what you described. Based on the type of car you want to have and the type of travel you want to do, their autonomous car will pick you up and bring you wherever you want to go. They're working on that, but it will happen in the close future.
Interesting.
Understanding your customers' needs for prediction is a very key component for that. So together with NASCAR, we created something we call the Fan Engagement Center. This way, NASCAR gets real-time information about customers' desires. This means the audience desires and the discussions they're having on social media through social media analytics. This helps them to respond flexibly with their transmitted program on TV to better engage fans with responding to the fans' desires. Let's have a short view on that Customer Engagement Center.
All right, show me.
This Fan and Media Engagement Center is the first of its kind. Nothing exists like it in all of sports or entertainment. It's changed how we do business significantly.
Fan and Media Engagement Center allows us to collect data, understand what that means, analyze it, allows us to respond faster, and at the end of the day, drives results to our fans. At the beginning of the year, one of our large auto manufacturers launched a new car. Right as they made that announcement, we were able to go to their president and hand him a report that tracked exactly the conversations that were happening as that announcement was coming out in real time.
It's not just data, it's actionable data. Data that helps sell more tickets to their racetracks.
You know, very interested. I really like that. And just between us, I have a turbo kit at home for my DeLorean. So all I need to do is go back in time and install it so I can compete with the NASCAR boys. You know, jokes aside, even in the future, knowing your customer and delivering a great experience through all available channels is key to success. Enough about cars and racing now. I took another photo, and I wonder what that is. Can you explain this, please?
Well, that's just a regular logistics center as far as I can see from this picture. You order something in today's time online, and your order is being processed out of a large distribution center where your product is being stocked and delivered by you via ship, truck, train, and airplane.
Okay. Don't you think that concept is a little bit outdated even in your current today? I mean, why do you keep products in stock? Wasting ground, labor, and production resources. In the future, your order is not processed by one single unit anymore. A decentralized manufacturing and logistics network that is closely automated and connected has been established. So once you place an order, say for self-tying shoes, the shoes are manufactured as closely to you as possible, and they will fit precisely your foot because they have your 3D data, clever as they are. After your personal customization is applied, they ship it directly to you from the production line, therefore optimizing delivery times. The delivery usually happens within hours because, again, the supply chain and the production processes are fully integrated and automated.
That's awesome, Uni.
Future.
But you know, we're really getting there as well. So there is a major German sports label called Adidas, and they are planning to bring back production into the country of sales closer to the customer. They have designed a fully automated factory to build custom order shoes within currently only 5 hours. They call it Speed Factory. So far, a custom-built shoes takes about 4 to 6 weeks to deliver, and they will cut that down dramatically. Automation allows them to have production in so-called high-cost countries, allowing them a higher degree of customization while reducing delivery times and avoiding overseas shipments. But it generates new challenges in logistics, in the supply chain, but also in the last mile delivery.
Yeah, funny you say this. Last mile delivery, my last mile, no plutonium. Anyway, I mean, we have so many clever people in the room. Have you thought about combining the disruptors and all of the startups to help address this challenge?
Yes, and there are already some great startups. So, for example, we're coming back to Uber. There is Uber Cargo, which started in Hong Kong, and Uber Rush in the US. They started to bridge the last mile with a very new express delivery service to bring down delivery times for online orders. And then there is TruckPad, a logistical broker platform bringing together freight forwarders, that means truck drivers, with companies who need to ship goods across the country or the continent. It helps truck drivers in South America, where they operate today, to optimize their route and to avoid empty or light runs. And it helps companies to forward their shipments faster at lower cost.
Well, makes sense to me, but again, not only there, even in my street, I see multiple delivery trucks passing by every day. And I was asking myself, why is this still the case, all the different trucks? Bernd, so far so good. We talked about people mobility, mobility of goods, agile production. But what about data mobility? I mean, making use of all of the data and information that is generated left and right of these new approaches and connected things, say IoT?
Yeah, talking about IoT, we as HP engaged in the Formula E, connecting almost every component of the Virgin racing car, by the way, which made, as far as I know, the 3rd place with our data center. This way, our technology powers the team by providing them real-time analytics about their cars and the race, enabling them to optimize their cars and their racing strategy, as well as to understand what is being required for developing new cars tomorrow. Take a look at that.
Let's see.
DS Virgin Racing entered Formula E because we thought it was the best way to accelerate the development of electric vehicle technology. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is the perfect teammate because they have the data analytics platform to help us win today, and IT solutions that help create a more sustainable world by using up to 65% less energy than comparable servers. So everybody wins tomorrow.
Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, accelerating next.
Ha! Cool. Very impressive. And this comes close to the performance of my DeLorean using the 1.21 gigawatts at 88 miles per hour back in 1985.
Oh.
But you know what? You can imagine how expensive that was those days. But in the future, transportation will be free of charge.
Really? I mean, that's a great surprise, but how you want to do that? What's the business model behind it?
Bernd, you will be amazed. Guess what is the least expensive part in this business model of personal mobility in the future? The car. The car. Actually, you don't pay anything for the car, neither to get it or to get it moving, like fuel, battery, or not to talk about plutonium again. You could say that the cars take care of financing themselves as part of the transportation networks. What we did cut out is the middleman, which is us in this case. You know, cars and other objects communicate and transfer monetary values between each other. Like you have your bank account today, the car has its own credit balance as well. It generates revenues in multiple ways. One way is the so-called in-car service offering by third parties that you would consume during your journey, and the car gets commission for. This has become a really competitive advantage. Let's take an example. Let's use Breuninger. Breuninger, still around. Breuninger? Okay.
Yeah.
Breuninger. They could send me a car for free to be transported to their store. So that is a competitive advantage. The revenues by me purchasing at Breuninger and nowhere else is actually covering the car's life cycle costs plus the road and network usage.
So your cars are not only driving autonomously, they are autonomous in every aspect?
I couldn't have said it better, Bernd. This is it.
Interesting. Well, that's really impressive. Still, bit of a way to go there, to build some new business models and implement them. But thinking about it again, there are some startups today that work towards that improving autonomous car service. So, for example, there is new.New, for example. They have developed and introduced a self-driving taxi that navigates through the streets of Singapore autonomously and detected requesters automatically by their smartphones to pick them up. Another technology for payment, which you need to make this vision real, is called blockchain today. It enables machine-to-machine transactions without having banks or other institutions in the middle. As an example, this allows you to pay for a song while listening it without having to commission a music store or a broadcasting app.
All interesting, Bernd. But what is HPE's contribution today helping customers on their digital journey into the future?
We're engaged with lots of startups to help our customers to design, test, and implement their digital roadmap very closely against their changing customer needs.
Okay.
Further, HPE is driving technology showcases to demonstrate our capabilities. Let me give you an example. So, for example, with the Cape to Cape project, we took our racing team from the North Cape to the South Cape, setting a new world record.
Really?
Yeah, and the SUV they were driving was connected to our data center, similar to the racing car we saw before, and equipped with sensors so we could prevent possible defects, but we could also monitor the driver's health conditions.
Wow.
Take a look at it.
Let's see.
19,000 kilometers from the North Cape to South Africa. The race team is braving the elements from the icy north to the heat and dust of the desert. Well, it's not only about helping the driver be faster than anyone else. It's about new IT-enabled business models that make a significant difference. HP's cloud-based analytics services enable insurance companies to identify the behavioral patterns of drivers. As a result, safe drivers will pay lower premiums. The business value for insurers is in the opportunity to reduce customer churn. Secondly, sensors installed in the vehicle themselves track road conditions. HP technologies help infrastructure management authorities analyze this data so that road maintenance can be prioritized. And finally, turning our attention to the automotive industry and manufacturing, wear and durability of car components are assessed to detect under or over engineering. Big data analysis generates usage profiles that serve to optimize the design and service life of automotive components.
Again, very cool. And you know what? I know Reinhard Zietlow, the main man behind this personally, because I was also involved in the setup to manage and monitor this whole world record race. And here is another very interesting driver profile analysis provided by the HPE Big Data technology. The software automatically detected about 3 different driver profiles based on how they use the throttle, the brakes, and the steering wheel. And you could clearly see that driver number 1 and 2 were really professionals. Driver 3, to me, looks like being a cameraman. No clue about race driving.
Yeah.
Anyway, jokes aside again, it sounds very strange, but I am running out of time. And I have to leave you now, Bernd.
Really?
I'm sorry.
So, Uli, it was very great talking to you, and many thanks for your insights into the future. But I would really like to join you in the car. You still have a seat free, so I can go back, or let's say, go further to the future to experience it?
Bernd, honestly, really with pleasure, but the passenger seat is already taken. I need to go back and pick up Einstein. I mean the dog, my dog, not the human being.
I know. Too bad, sure, I understand. I really can't wait to experience that new future.
Well, you're lucky. I brought some of the future stuff with me, and I will also be available for a little while. And let me say that you and all of the others here in the room, you are invited to join us at the HPE booth over there in the connected mobility area.
That sounds fantastic. No chance I would miss that. I'm really looking forward. And Uli, I see you later over there.
I'll see you there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernd and Uli. We have about 5 minutes for questions. If anyone would like to ask a question about the future of connected mobility or about the DeLorean, Bernd and Uli would be happy to answer. We have a spotter with a microphone. Just raise your hand and we'll get you a mic. Don't all go at once. No questions? Come on, pioneers. Okay, I'll go first to break the ice. You guys are next. I'm looking at the front row here. Where did you get this car?
Where did I get this car? Well, I looked for this car for quite a while, and actually I was inspired by the Back to the Future movie.
You don't say.
People need to know the car was manufactured only for about 2 years. About 8,700 have been built by the time. They were built in Ireland, heavily supported by the English government. When Margaret Thatcher came on the helm, she stopped the investment and the factory was teared down after 2 years. That's why you have the interesting situation that they have built the parts for 20,000 cars, but only built about 8,700. And another anecdote, who knows the Back to the Future movie? Hands up. Yeah, this is the interactive part of the program. Okay, let me tell you. First, they thought about taking a refrigerator as the time machine, and then they were really concerned about kids sitting into the refrigerator and try it, so they took the car. And why did they took a DeLorean? By the time the company was already out of business, so they did not compete with the Ford and General Motors of this world.
That is a fascinating bit of movie trivia. Thank you very much for that. The floor is open for your questions. I see we have a brave soul here in the middle. Can you get her a microphone quickly? Go ahead and stand up. Yeah, pioneers.
Thank you first for the very entertaining presentation.
Thank you.
So is that your car or did you just rent it for the presentation?
It's my car.
Wow.
So
congratulations.
I do software as a business and I do car restorations as my hobby. So that's how it came together.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. More.
This woman right here.
I'm interested to know what that means for the car industry, specifically in our area. I mean, what are the companies going to be who are going to capitalize on that? I've seen some facts that people in the emerging countries are likely to buy from a tech company. What does it mean for our area, for our region?
Bernd?
To work for, I have understood the question from an acoustic point of view, to work for in countries, in third world countries?
I mean, India, Brazil, China, 80% of the respondents of the survey said that they would buy cars from a tech company, not from a car company. Given that we make so much money out of selling cars through the world, how big do you think is the likelihood that our car companies will capitalize on the digital opportunity?
So I think
and I know it's a tough question and an unfair
I think there's even a bigger change in a completely other direction. Our generation is still proud to own cars and to buy cars and to drive cars. The new generation, and a lot of this we have sitting here, is very open to actually just use cars. We talked about Faraday Future and a couple of other logistics companies. So it's more the mobility the generations of tomorrow want to own than actually owning a car. They want to use a service versus owning a product. And I think that will happen all around the world. Uber is successful in Asia, in many countries. A lot of other startups have started there, so I think there's a big change in new business models and also a big change into a new way of mobility.
Yeah. And if I may, we really see things changing. The critical time will be between now and then. We will get autonomous cars. That's my personal belief. There's no way around it. But it takes a while until all of the cars are autonomous. And the question is, what does the system do if you have a non-autonomous car in between? So we need to figure this out. But also for the older generation here in the room, there is hope. When you go into your fully automated autonomous car, we are working on different autonomous car driver profiles. So from HPE, you will get a very special Walter Röhrl driving profile, so it gets you to your office very, very quick. Thank
Something
you.
to look forward to.
Jokes aside.
I think we've got time for one more question. Yes, this gentleman right here.
Hello, good morning. I have another remark or question too. I mean, is this all those new business models are not paid by our personal freedom at the end. I mean, everything we do, we are connected to the world by more or less dependencies. So if I want to go to Bräuninger, yes, he pays my car or my trip there. But if I want to go to CNA and say I want to see another store, he says, no, you need to call the other guy. So I need to be up to date and always in dependency, and my freedom at the end to drink a beer at the end of the day is basically the bartender. So I'm always depending on whoever wants to get the business.
Yeah, so this is what the economy calls the customer journey and the customer experience. So there are certain things we want to do at certain points of times, and we outlined this a little bit in our little play. So from your mobile phone, from your devices, your wearables you will be wearing, other service providers can understand what you want to do. There is a great book. It's called 2037. It is about a trend research company in Germany, and they put the trends they were experiencing into the future, into a nice storybook. And that book tells how we are living in 2037. And in 2037, the world around us is connected around us. It is still changing on a constant basis. It is still adapting to us. It will still have problems and things which are not working. It will not be perfect. But I think it gives a great insight how we are getting more and more connected to each other, and how we are opening us and we are basically bringing our IP, our knowledge, our action into a network versus keeping it for us and doing everything for us alone as we perhaps are used to do it in the past.
Okay. We're going to have to leave it there. I think Bernard, Ulrich and Bernd, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for bringing this DeLorean. As I mentioned, you can check it out close up at the HPV stand here in the conference hall. Thank you.
For sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, folks.